So here's my question. So I look at the landscape now and the people I see as, I'll narrow it down to foreign policy. Okay. Who is effectively opposing neoconservative foreign policy, which has been the dominant foreign policy of the United States for my entire life, which has been so destructive, I think, and I've seen it. Who are the voices who are sincere in their opposition to that and who have some ability to change the country's orientation on foreign policy? And those would include Marjorie Taylor Greene, J.D. Vance, Matt Gaetz, me. But you've attacked all of those people.
Yeah.
Why would you, and almost Joe Kent, those strike me as someone who's really interested in this topic. I'm not that interested in the Jews, but I'm very interested in the foreign policy question. Those seem like the most sincere people. Those seem like the only hope of the country to get away from this destructive, really self-destructive cycle. Why attack them?
Well, in short, they attacked me first.
Yeah, but who cares?
Well, let's take Joe Kent.
I mean, you attack me constantly. Well, and I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I want to meet the guy.
You attacked me first too.
No. But what I'm saying is I'm not whining about it. Sure. I'm just saying so, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't say so because take Joe Kent, for instance. I supported Joe Kent and I talked to Joe Kent. I got introduced to him by Matt Braynard. Matt Braynard went to my conference in 2021. He bought a table.
Was he his campaign manager?
He was.
Okay.
Or he was a consultant, but he was on the campaign. Yeah. And so I met Matt Braynard. He liked me a lot. He loved my conference in February 21, which he bought a table at for his organization, Look Ahead America. And in 2021, and by we, I mean my nonprofit and myself and my team, we wanted to support America First candidates in the midterms. Like you said, authentic opponents.
Me too.
Yeah.
And that's how I found Joe Kent.
Yes. And so I met a lot of the people in that sort of scene, like Ryan Gerdusky, I know is very supportive of Joe Kent, and other people that are more private, I don't want to name, but they put me on, not just to Joe Kent, but Patrick Witt in Georgia, Gibbs in Michigan, a lot of different people. And Joe Kent was one of them. And I had a phone call with Joe Kent. And I told him, I had my assistant on the phone too, who's Jewish, by the way, just because I want you to know I'm cool like that. I don't judge. But so I'm on the phone with Joe and I said, look, we support you and we want to do everything we can to help you. We want to have my followers knock on doors for you. We want to boost your social media. Anything that you need, we want to help you. I said, and we don't even want to be publicly associated. I said, because we know that might hurt you. I said, the only thing that we ask in return is you can't disavow me if the media asks. And you can say whatever you need to say, but you can't disavow. And he said, yeah, I totally agree with you, because if we start disavowing each other, then we're just going to eat each other alive and the left wins. We're in agreement. And a couple months later, Joe tweeted in support of me because I had been banned on all social media. I was on the no-fly list. So he said something on Twitter like, Nick Fuentes shouldn't be banned. He should not be censored. A month after that, I put out on Twitter, I said, Joe Kent is one of the most impressive America First candidates that's running in 22. Well, fast forward a whole year later, I do my annual conference, AFPAC, in February 22. Marjorie Taylor Greene attends. It's we had 1,200 people, and it got a lot of media attention. And I'm driving home, because I'm on the no-fly list at this time. I'm driving home from Florida.
Can I ask you to pause? By no-fly list, you mean not extra scrutiny, but not allowed to fly in airplanes in the United States?
Not allowed to fly, yes.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Did you have any felony convictions?
No.
Okay. I wasn't even aware that could happen. How long were you not allowed to fly in airplanes in the United States?
1 year.
It's really crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, I just want to get that out there.
No, yeah, okay. It's brutal.
And you confirm that you were not allowed to fly in airplanes? Period.
Yes, I have the letter from the TSA, yeah. I was on the do not board list. Sorry to interrupt you. No, it's crazy. But so anyway, I'm driving home from Florida after my conference, and I get people start texting me. Joe Kent is on Twitter, and he says, I condemn Nick Fuentes, especially his views on Israel. That's the tweet. And I texted Joe and I said, seriously? And he texts me back and he says, we win by addition, not subtraction. I go, well, you just subtracted me out of the movement. I said, because I don't support you anymore. He goes back for seconds. He goes on Twitter and says, Nick Fuentes and his focus on race and religion does not fit with my message of inclusive populism. Inclusive populism. That doesn't sound like authentic America first. That sounds like bullshit to me. And I don't know. I know he's your friend, but I don't know him that well. And
right.
I'm not on the team.
Totally convinced you were a Fed because I was like, here he's bear hugging like the one sincere guy who lost his wife in Syria thanks to the fucking crazy wars, neocon wars. And he's discredited. He's doing the David Duke. Like David Duke would always, every time I rolled out a new show, he would issue an endorsement of the show. I've never met the guy. What's that? Well, it's the Feds. Obviously, he's trying to destroy me by association. Whatever. You see the point?
Yeah, but so let me ask you this. So if I'm supporting Joe Kent, I'm David Duke bear hugging. If I attack Joe Kent, I'm attacking the only sincere America First voices.
I get it. I mean, I do get it. And I just want to say I love Joe Kent. Again, having been denounced by a lot of people I like, I know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely am sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
I was denounced by someone I like last night. I hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? Whatever. I'm not even going to say what her name is, but I helped her. I liked her. You know, it's like, why are you denouncing me? Why didn't you call me?
Yeah.
Right? I get that. I guess the two problems, but then on the other hand, like one of my favorite people in the world is Glenn Greenwald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Glenn.
Oh, what a good man. Glenn must have spent like 10 years attacking me full time. Tucker Carlson is da-da-da-da-da. And some of his criticism was correct, actually. You know, a tool of the neocons, endorsing these fucking wars. Like, he was right.
Listen, I understand that there is always a price to be paid for everything you do or say. That is true. There is always a price to be paid. But if you only listen to what Nick has gone through, you can't help but feel some sympathy towards him. Now listen, he has said things that I am not proud of. And he has opinions that I think are crazy. But to see the way he was treated is really, really painful. And remember, when he was going through all this, not the Republican nor the Democrat came to his rescue. I have watched a similar interview he did, I think with Dave Smith, where he said that the whole Republican Party just dropped him like he was nobody. Can you imagine that? And the TSA stopped him from flying. That is really, really bad. Now listen, private companies have their rules and regulations, and private companies have or reserve the right to offer services to whoever they so choose. That is their right to do so. But you cannot help but wonder, to what end? What was that supposed to achieve? I have seen people having issues with companies that promote certain agendas, and they think that those companies are woke, like the issue with Bud Light, when they decided to let declamovenis, one of their product, they came under a lot of pressure from the Republicans or the conservatives. And my whole thought was like, do you for a second think that companies or corporations love one person or one entity over another? Do you think so? Do you think that corporations have allegiance? They don't. They are corporation. They sell to the highest bidder. They are corporations. So rather than you fighting against each other, you guys must team up against the corporations. That is the truth. Now, all these corporations ban him. PayPal, Venmo, and so on and so forth. I think even he's banned on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know if they've let him on those platforms now or not. I don't know. And of recently, he was banned again on, I think, Spotify. I heard that one of his followers started posting his videos on Spotify, and he was like the most viewed podcast on Spotify. I think for a day. Then Spotify decided to ban him. So you think that Spotify is doing a favor to you? No, they are not. They are not. When Google and Facebook decided to ban Donald Trump, Democrats thought that that was a win for them. But it was never a win for them because those companies like Alphabet and Meta were not doing those things because it was going to benefit Democrats. They did it because they want to be on the side with the Democrats because the Democrats were in power. As soon as Trump won the election the second time, they all switched allegiance. They didn't stay with the Democrat. Mark Zuckerberg was giving crazy excuses. Google, is it president or CEO, was donating millions to Trump. Facebook was doing the same thing. That is just the truth. So the thing is, people like us, common people like us, feel like corporations, when they take certain decisions, is because they like us or they want to stop a certain thing from spreading. In Nick's case, they want to stop him from saying crazy things on social media or bringing a kind of like French ideas mainstream. That was what people thought. But remember, those corporations did not do that because of you and I. They did that because it was the big thing at the moment, or it was a trending topic at the moment, and they wanted to always stay on top of the issue. If there is another movement now, and the movement is in support of Nick, they will let him on all the different platforms. It is never for you or for I. It is about them staying on top of the narrative. That is the thing that we all must understand. Nick really went through a lot. And luckily for him, he knew what he was getting himself into. He knew or he understood the consequences for what he was saying. And I'm sure he also understood quite well that there will be some consequences for the things he was saying. And I like the fact that he is not just playing the victim card, but rather welcoming the whole situation and also accepting it as his fate. Because what I hate is for people to say things, and when they get negative reactions from what they say or what they said, they now start playing the victim card. Those kind of people I really, really hate. I like someone who did or said something, and when there is a clashback or pushback or reaction or consequences for what that person has said or done, they welcome it. They take the responsibility. They hold themselves accountable. They be like, yeah, I didn't like the way people reacted, but I understand the reason why they reacted, and I totally accept the reactions from them and the consequences for them. For I said what I said and I did what I did. That is it. That is it. But some politicians will never do that. So I'm happy that Nick is getting better still. He's reaping the reward of his resilience. He is now on almost all the popular platforms in America. He was on PBD podcast. He was on Candy Owens podcast. He was on Dave Smith podcast. I think he has also had an interview with Glenn Greenwald. So people are saying that maybe Joe Rogan should have him on. So let's see. One more thing before I go. I believe that people do change. I believe that people's opinions and perceptions about things do change. I, for one, I have changed a lot since I started doing this political commentating. I have changed a lot. I have modified some of my views. People do that. When you open yourself, okay, when you put yourself out there and listen to other people, you kind of understand where they are coming from, and you kind of like re-examine your own views to see whether or not those views were clouded by a bias or certain preconceived information that were not correct. And from there, you start modifying or modernizing your own views. So I think that too will happen to Nick if only people give him the platform to express himself.